Welcome to Casual Fanclub, the podcast that makes sports make sense. I'm Faith.
And I'm Olivia. If you've ever felt like sports weren't meant for you, we're here to change that. Whether you're a casual fan or just getting started, we break down the conversation in a way that feels approachable, fun, and totally judgment-free.
Each episode, we bring in people who have built careers in sports, whether it's broadcasting, marketing, front office roles, or behind the scenes. They share their journeys, give advice on how to get into the industry, and help all of us feel more confident joining the conversation.
Because sports should be for everyone. Let's get into it.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Casual Fanclub podcast. I'm Faith, and today we have an exciting pre-recorded interview with Kylie Devlin from NASCAR. Kylie's journey in sports management has taken her through some major names like the New York Jets and Madison Square Garden, and now she's bringing her talents to NASCAR. She's going to share some valuable insights into the business side of motorsports, her career journey, and the exciting opportunities for women in the industry. So get ready, it's a great conversation. Let's dive right in.
So my name is Kylie, last name is Devlin. So I've graduated from Elon University back in 2019 with a sport management major. So before that, I wasn't sure exactly what I wanted to do in the sports world. I just knew I had a passion for sports. I didn't start off at Elon, so I first went to a smaller school called Marywood University, which is in Scranton, Pennsylvania. So I went there to play basketball. Played basketball for 2 years and then transferred to Elon, which was always my dream school when I was looking at schools in high school. So after graduation, and I had a lot of internships throughout my time at Elon. I worked in the athletic ticket office. I was a game day intern for the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs, which is a minor league baseball team in Allentown, Pennsylvania. Still was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. So one piece of advice that I always tell people is take advantage of every opportunity, especially when it comes to internships, because you figure out what you like, but most importantly, maybe what you don't want to do. So my first job out of college was with the New York Jets as a premium sales associate. So fancy term for inside sales. And it was a lot of work, definitely a grind. But I loved it. I learned a lot. So I was commuting every single day to MetLife or to Florham Park, and it was a lot. And then what I kind of found from that role was I really enjoyed group sales. I loved reaching out to youth football teams at the time when I was at the Jets, or just working with larger groups and seeing how much fun that they had on a game day. So I ended up taking a position after that with Madison Square Garden on their group sales team. So it was really cool. Was commuting to the city every day from Jersey. And we were able to sell groups for pretty much everything that the Garden had to offer. We were a small group sales team, but we were able to cover like Knicks, Rangers, and I would say like our main focus was actually the Christmas Spectacular at Radio City Music Hall, which was really cool. So we would set up a lot of like performances or reach out to dance groups, and they would maybe do a dance class with the Rockettes or something cool like that. So that's what I loved. I loved the event planning part of it, which is why I think it was August of 2020, during COVID and that crazy time was when our sales team ended up getting laid off. But it worked out for me because I wanted to get out of the city. I've always wanted to move to Florida. So NASCAR actually called me up and offered me a group sales account executive position. And then from there, after about a year, I was promoted to manage and oversee inside sales here at NASCAR.
That is amazing. So you've had tons of experience, different experiences, found like your niche. What is like the difference between you worked just for the Jets at like a smaller role, you worked from MSG doing many different roles, it sounds like, because you were working with different teams, and then now with NASCAR. So like, what did you kind of learn from the three positions? How did they differ from each other?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's NASCAR is very unique compared to the rest of the sports world, especially when it comes to sales and ticket sales. Because here at NASCAR, we're able to sell pretty much everything and anything that a NASCAR fan may want or need for all 13 of our NASCAR owned properties that are spread out all across the country. So not just NASCAR, but our team also covers the Rolex 24, which is a huge IMSA race here in Daytona. In January, we cover Bike Week, which is actually going on right now in Daytona. We also sell for the Chicago Street Race, the Clash, which was held at Bowman Gray Stadium this year, in North Carolina. So there's a lot of events that our team covers. So the main difference is when I was working for the Jets and pretty much most sports teams that I'm familiar with my experience, they're more limited to what they can sell. So, for example, when I was at the Jets, if somebody were to call in or if somebody wanted 2 tickets to a game, we weren't able to help them out with that. We were only able to sell them or help out with season tickets, group sales, or premium. So like a suite to a game. That's pretty much what we were able to do. So here at NASCAR, we are able to sell everything from parking passes to camping to premium to experiences, and our team earns commission on everything that they sell, which is pretty cool.
Got it.
A couple other differences is with team sports is like for the NFL, for example, you're working or you're selling for 8 home season games, one venue, one team, and then you have an off season. So with us, we there's really no off season. There's a lot of product knowledge, and you have to be very organized because there's lot that we can sell and so many clients that we deal with.
Right.
And I would say another difference too is typically in sales when it comes to team sports, a lot of the objections that they hear is based off of team performance. So at NASCAR, we really don't have to worry too much about that. We'll get fans that'll, complain about some of the changes we've made when it comes to like stage racing or some other things, but we don't really get those objections, those team sport objections. Because a lot of sales teams, the reason why they have sales teams is they're trying to get people out to games, to events. Um, so I guess kind of to put that into perspective, the Patriots when Tom Brady was there, or I'm trying to think like the Kansas City Chiefs, right? They don't
Yeah.
really need a sales team because it sells themselves. So with us, we don't get those objections, which is kind of nice. And then our team can always cross sell our fans to new events or to new bucket list races that they want to get to.
Yeah. So you talked a little bit about the packages and how you have the opportunity to really sell
Hmm.
so many different things within the motorsport world. How do you think that these sales and sponsorships and things like that drive the success of the sport?
Yeah, definitely. So we're always trying to find new ways to bring in new fans or to enhance our current fans' experience. So, for example, we didn't have a outbound sales team. I think we started the our sales team outbound in 2017. I want to say, because NASCAR was known for a while, for years, as like a dying sport. So we needed to bring in a sales team to come up with different ideas and to engage our fan base, which is why we had we came up with something cool like the Chicago Street Race, the first ever race literally on the streets of Chicago, which is cool. The Clash that was held at the Coliseum, and then now this is the first year that it was held at in North Carolina. So different things like that to keep people engaged has been very successful. And also with us, NASCAR fans never had like a personal ticket consultant before.
Mhm.
So they really like that personal touch of having a rep that they can call. And basically whenever they need something NASCAR related, they want to get out to another race or they need to add on a parking pass or a scanner, they have their rep saved in their phone. And that's our fans really enjoy that instead of just before they were having trouble renewing online or calling into the inbound line. So our team has done a really great job with not just the sales side, but also the customer service side, which has really driven a lot of revenue when it comes to getting more people out to races, especially new fans. And then also some of the experience packages that they've never had before has made their race day experience that much better. So we have something called VIP experience packages that we actually just put together last year. So they're really cool. They have a chance to get driver autographs or get a VIP credential, be down on the infield before the race. So there's tons of different things that they can add on now and packages that we've never really had before, and that's been a huge success.
Yeah, that's awesome. So sports sales and businesses are, I think we both know, kind of seen as male dominated. So what was it like
Mhm.
coming into the career as a woman working in the NFL and now NASCAR?
Yeah, I would say like Typically when you come into the sports world, it's a lot more it's male dominated. So for example, like on our sales floor here at NASCAR, we have a lot of really great females that work in the industry. And they've done a really great job. But then I would say like as of a couple of years ago, typically you see maybe like one or two females on a team, specifically like in sales, compared to, five, six guys on a team,
Mhm.
specifically inside sales. So it can definitely be challenging. I would say, especially on the sports side, guys are typically the ones that know more about sports, right? That's just people I think typically think that. So it can be a little bit overwhelming at first. But my advice to any females or any girls looking to work in the sports world is have confidence, believe in yourself. And especially like nowadays, we need females more than ever. There's so many opportunities, and they do a really good job. And I think the most challenging part is, as a female, it was a little bit harder to speak up and stand out. Maybe they had a male boss, or all the way, at the very top, it's male. So it can be a little bit overwhelming. But I would say just have confidence and believe in yourself, because females are doing a really, really great job, and are going to continue to have more opportunities, in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. So, if you were a woman who is trying to get into the fandom side of it, NASCAR
Mhm,
maybe isn't always on the top of the mind for sports like we've talked about. It's so different than the other team sports.
mhm.
What's the biggest thing that you would, I guess, what would be like your pitch to someone to get them to watch a race?
Yeah, so my pitch to watch a race would be, you don't have to be specifically NASCAR, and this goes for all sports. But you don't have to be a fan of NASCAR or racing to enjoy coming out to a race and experiencing it in person. So before I moved down here, they actually flew me out, and I was able to see my first race in person here at Daytona before taking the job. And once I was here, I was like, wow, I had no idea, just all that goes into a race. So my favorite part isn't even truly like the race itself. I love all of the pre-race activities. So there's no other sport where we have people that will camp out a week before the race even starts. Like a lot of the camping packages that we sell, it's for a week long before the
Mhm.
races start. Pretty cool. So there's that, and then just all of the pre-race stuff. So typically for a lot of our races, we'll have concerts down on the infield. We have something here at Daytona called our fan zone area, which is pretty much like a pre-race pass at all of our other tracks. And down in the fan zone, there's garages, and a lot of the drivers, you have more access to the drivers getting autographs and pictures rather than like the NBA, the NFL, for example. So that's one cool part of it. And then usually we'll have like a flyover for our big races, and there's just a lot going on before the race even starts. And that's something that I really enjoy about NASCAR races that you're not going to get at other sports or other games that you go to outside of NASCAR.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've touched on quite a few things so far. Is there anything else that we didn't talk about that you'd want to share to someone listening about the business?
Yeah, I would say, for anybody looking to work in sports, maybe not just NASCAR, but sports in general, my biggest advice, especially for college students like yourself, is one, and it's kind of, you hear this a lot, right? But networking is key. The sports industry is very small, so everybody knows everyone. So like if you were to name a team right now, there's probably somebody I know there, or somebody I have a connection with, that knows somebody there. So it's important to put yourself out there, even if it's just messaging somebody on LinkedIn, like you did, right? And asking to set up like an informational interview to learn more about their job, and kind of see what their day to day looks like, how they got to where they are. So that goes a really long way, because if a position opens up at that company or organization, down the line, you're more likely, you have an advantage of earning that opportunity, or at least going through the interview process, because they're going to remember you just from reaching out. So we have like hundreds of applicants for my position that I hire for. But when somebody reaches out to me, or if there's somebody that I've had a connection with, I'm more likely to respond to them or reach out to them rather than just looking at a resume, somebody that applied. So like put yourself out there. And then like I was saying earlier, take advantage of every opportunity. So whether that's internships, whether that's just volunteering for something at school, because the more people that you know and the more experience that you get, one, it's going to help you as you do go through interview processes. And two, like you just have a kind of a better idea of the different avenues you can take in the sports industry. So really just doing everything you can to gain as much knowledge and meet as many people, because it's small and it's not, you hear this a lot, but it's not so much about what you know, it's really about who you know.
Right.
And making good impressions on people is key. So I guess the last thing I'll say, I know I'm going on a rant here, but one cool thing for me was before I moved down here, and the reason I got this job is I owe him a lot of credit. But I went to the baseball winter meetings, which is a lot of minor league teams. Typically, it's somewhere different each year. But my senior year was in Las Vegas. Decided to go with some of my classmates. And when I was there, I interviewed for an inside sales position with the Marlins. So they had offered me a job. I didn't take it because I couldn't move out to Miami at the time. But David Campbell, so he was the one that hired me here. He moved over to NASCAR, and we kind of stayed in touch. And then when a position became open here at NASCAR on his team, he had reached out. So it just goes to show like connections are key, because that'll open up the door for you for future opportunities.
Yeah. Well, I love everything you've said so far. It's really put into perspective the business side of things and the success of a sports organization. It was a really great conversation. Thank you for sharing. And we will be keeping an eye on all of the amazing things that you will continue to do in NASCAR and beyond. Wow, what an incredible conversation with Kylie. From the way NASCAR has embraced new sales strategies to the unique culture around racing, it's clear how much passion and innovation are fueling the sport. Kylie, thank you so much again for sharing your journey and giving us a peek behind the scenes of NASCAR. We'll be keeping an eye on all the amazing things you continue to do, and we hope to see you at all the races.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Kylie, for your time. And to all of our listeners, make sure you're following NASCAR because there's a lot going on that you don't want to miss.
Now, transitioning from the business side to the fun side of things. Olivia, we've heard a lot about how NASCAR is evolving, growing its fan base, but what really stood out to me was how cool the actual race day experience is. I wish that I had more time to go to one and actually experience it firsthand, but Kylie mentioned things like fan zones. You can get packages where you camp out for a whole week before the race and even getting up close to the drivers for autographs. That sounds pretty awesome, right?
Yeah, that is awesome. I have actually been to a NASCAR race before, but it was years ago. It's like 9.
Yeah.
So my memory's a little foggy, but I remember you able to get right up to the cars. You meet the drivers. It was a really
So
cool
cool.
experience.
Yeah, that's what makes NASCAR, I feel like, so unique. It's just like, it's not about just the race itself. It's the whole event. She mentioned that they do concerts, that there's all these extra experiences that kind of make you feel like you're right in the action. It's like, oh, this is like a whole event. Like I'm not just going to one game, you know? So it's kind of different. But it's a lot. I think that's what draws the fans in, because even if they're not like a lifelong racing fan, you still get to experience something like totally different every time.
Yeah, it's like a festival. And especially they keep trying to innovate, like with things like Chicago Street Race and new fan experiences. It's a great way to keep sports fresh and exciting for new fans.
Yeah. And NASCAR has a strong, dedicated fan base as it is. So they're doing a fantastic job of bringing in new fans and making the experience more accessible and fun if you're looking for something different from your typical sporting events. But
yeah, and with all those new events and the cool stuff that they have going on, I think it's safe to say that NASCAR has become a lot more than just a race. It's an experience now, like a lot of things I feel like in our culture, and I'm definitely excited to see how they continue to grow on that side of things.
Yeah. So just a reminder to everyone before we wrap up, please follow us on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube at Casual Fanclub Pod. And thanks for listening, and remember to tune in next time for more on all things sports and fandom.